guys, the Black Critic Guy, finally back with a brand new anime review, and today I'll be reviewing the anime Kakegurui. I really hope that's how you pronounce the title. If not, well, it's kind of typical for me to mispronounce Japanese words, isn't it? Now, Kakegurui takes place in a school where the hierarchy is determined through gambling. If you win and make a shit ton of money, you're part of the elites. But if you lose and end up in debt, you become subservient to the person you owe the debt to. These slaves are known as Fido for boys and Mitten for girls. But soon this system is disrupted by a new transfer student by the name of Yumiko Jabami, a compulsive gambler who sets her sights on the student council and challenges their supremacy, all for the thrill of gambling. Now, I've been meaning to watch this anime for quite some time now, as it's been sitting in my Netflix queue for the last 2 or 3 months. I remember seeing it pop up on my Netflix. I'm like, that looks actually pretty interesting, and that girl smiles. She looks like she's having some fun. Maybe I can have some fun with this anime. And now the day has finally come where I got the chance to watch Kakegurui, and after seeing the entirety of the first season, what do I think about it? Well, let's get into it. As always, let's start off by addressing the animation. It's solid here. Mappa delivers yet again, and I expect no less from the same studio that brought us Kids on the Slope and Yuri on Ice. I really love the vibrant colors and the unique facial expressions of each character. In fact, this anime has some of the best facial expressions and reactions I've ever seen. It's a freeze framer's wet dream, and for me, they're so enjoyably over the top. My only issue in regards to the art and animation is that every character basically has the same facial design. And I know that might sound a bit contradictory, as I just praised the anime for having such unique facial expressions, but when they're not drawn so over the top, drawn normally, they all look the same. There's very little variety outside of the style of the hair for each character or their eye colors. Other than that, I could barely tell them apart. I really enjoyed watching and listening to the opening theme. It's jazzy, it's upbeat, it's sensual, it fits perfectly with this anime. I was genuinely surprised at how good the English dub was. I mean, I don't really expect much from Netflix dubs, but the ADR was on point and the voice talents were expressive and energetic. It's by far the best English dub I've heard from an anime Netflix original series. And finally, the story and characters were a whole lot of fun. The story is basically a 99-cent version of Kill la Kill. Just replace Goku uniforms for playing cards, and it's the same story. New student shows up to a totalitarian school, befriends a local, challenges the system, and fights the student council one at a time until she reaches the top. But I'm not trying to sell the story short here, as I found the card game aspect very unique, and I love the variety of challenges Yumiko faced and how she overcame them. Now, whether or not they were captivating though, that's another story. And speaking of Yumiko, the characters. I think the best way to describe a majority of them is intense. I mean, from Yumiko's erratic love for gambling to this one character who's obsessed with playing Russian roulette and hopes to shoot herself in the head one day, most of these characters are quite psychotic. Hell, there's this one character in one episode who literally bites the nails from her fingers in a true moment of what the fuck. And speaking about that girl obsessed with playing Russian roulette, does she not bear a similar resemblance to that one character from Mirai Nikki? You know, the one with the short purple hair, the eye patch, totally deranged and psychotic? I would not be surprised if she was a blatant copy, or perhaps maybe even the daughter of that character. And in regards to characters, another genuine surprise from Kakegurui was the relationship between Yumiko and Ryota. Now, I'll admit, at first, I did not buy or like this relationship. I found it hollow and lacking. I felt no chemistry, I felt no connection. But then I realized as the series went on that their relationship is emblematic of the entire series, and that is taking risks. I mean, you have Yumiko, a new student of this school who has no idea how the school is ran and operated, putting her faith and trust in a guy she's never met before and who could quite possibly use and manipulate her skills in order to get ahead, and trusting him to help her with some high-stakes gambling situations. And then on the other side, you have Ryota, a passive, timid guy who shies away from risk, risking his social standings to be with this compulsive gambler girl that he's just met. Both of them put a lot of stakes in their relationship. Their relationship is defined by the risk that each takes. And in the end, it pays off. It's quite a fitting dynamic for the series, and I personally found it quite intriguing. But unfortunately, guys, we've now reached the point where I must address some of the problems that I found with Kakegurui. And again, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm so sorry. Y'all are probably cringing at my pronunciation of the title. The biggest problem I found with this anime, and it really pains me to say this, guys, but I have to be honest about it, is Yumiko as a character. Now, as much as I enjoy her neurotic tendencies, her obsession with gambling, and seeing her destroy and humiliate her foes, I have to be honest when it comes to her character overall. And the sad truth of it all is that she's a textbook Mary Sue. I mean, really think about it, guys. She's a flawless beauty in every sense of the word, from her big breasts, long flowing hair, pretty face, and piercing red eyes. There's no explanation as to why she's so adept at gambling. She masters every single game that she plays, even when she's never played it before, and she soundly defeats all of her opponents with little to no effort. And even when she loses, it's not because her opponent outsmarted her, it's because she let it happen. Now, what saves her from being complete Mary Sue trash like, let me just think of one off the top of my head now, Rey from The Last Jedi, is that she's quite entertaining and such a thrill to watch. Her personality is enough to make you temporarily forget how lacking she is as a character and all of her shortcomings. And it is just beautiful seeing her decimate her egotistical enemies, turning their hubris against them. Beautiful poetic justice. But why her Mary Sue-ness is such a huge problem is that it takes away all the tension from any of her challenges, because you already know without a shadow of a doubt that she's gonna come out on top. You know the outcome before it even happens, so why be invested in what is going on screen? You know the outcome already. Not to mention, it becomes very repetitive and predictable seeing the same sort of outcome constantly, making it boring. Hell, there's this one episode where the characters are literally gambling for their lives, and I sat there watching it and said to myself, I kind of know how this is all gonna end, so I don't really care. You know, I find it hilariously ironic for a show about characters taking risks and a character that loves taking risks that they took no risk with this character or didn't really actually challenge her in any way that seemed risky. If we saw Yumiko actually be challenged by someone who's very much like her and loves the thrill of taking risks, or maybe even a brief explanation or a peek into her backstory explaining how she became such a gambling fiend, that would have really gone a long way to enhance this character. Not only making her a bit more relatable and understanding to the audience, but also captivating the audience to see whether or not she would actually make it out of many of these challenges. But at the end of the day, she ended up being incredibly lacking and just not that engaging of a character. She's cool, she's fun to watch, but I was never really invested in anything that this character did. I just didn't care what she did because I knew what she was about to do. I knew she was going to win. Ryota's also pretty dull and generic as a standalone character. Outside of his relationship with Yumiko, there's just not much going on with him. And I get it, he's supposed to be the foil to Yumiko's obsessive-compulsive behavior. He's the level-headed one of the two. But I mean, come on, man. At least have something going for you besides being the typical nice guy. But I will admit, he does do one really cool thing at the end of the anime, which also kind of displayed some growth in his character. But besides that... Next, the last character that fell short for me was Mary. Now, it's not her fault that she fell short. I actually blame the creative team for dropping the ball in such an interesting, intriguing, and dynamic character. I mean, with Mary, we have the potential for a very fascinating and engaging character arc. You had a character who was so high on her own hubris, sitting at the top in the lap of luxury and just scoffing down at the people below her. Then she gets her ass handed to her and becomes the very thing that she ridiculed, and through her time as a mitten, she realizes the poor treatment that are given to people of that status. It humbles her, and she fights her way to get out of her mitten status. And once out, she decides to confront the student council for the things that she went through and kind of topple that regime. Does that not sound like an interesting story / character arc? I'd rather see that. But no, instead she's relegated to a supporting role while Miss Perfection does what Mary wanted to do herself, challenge and topple the student council. Honestly, these two characters sort of switched because one was far more interesting and had more motivation and purpose than the other. And the last thing that I did not like were these two episodes that were solely focused on this pop idol girl. Yeah, I didn't find those episodes enjoyable. I found them kind of pointless and forgettable. Easily the two worst episodes in the entire series. We could have done without them. So overall, while Kakegurui is not the image of perfection like its main heroine, it's still a really fun anime to watch, and I found it rather entertaining. It is an enjoyable anime. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Kakegurui. Again, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. I would love to know what you guys thought about the series as well. Do you overall adore it? Is it one of your favorite anime of the year so far, or just find it really boring, dull, you couldn't get into it? And let me know, what is your favorite gambling anime or poker anime? I know a couple of you, after I watched this series and I was posting about it on Facebook and Twitter, you were telling me to watch this one anime called Kaiji, which I'm definitely curious to check out, and I might watch it after this review. Who knows? There's another anime I want to watch on Netflix that I think looks pretty interesting and I would love to review it, so maybe I'll watch it after that. But do let me know what's your favorite gambling anime or poker anime. Comment below, let me know, and stay tuned, more videos are on their way. Hopefully I will not slack like I've been doing for the past couple of weeks and months. I apologize, guys. I'm trying my best to balance work and YouTube as best as I can. But I am working on it, guys. I promise I'll try to have more videos out more frequently. Now I want to take this time to personally thank all the patrons who graciously donated to my Patreon account. It's through your generous donation that I'm able to make videos such as these. And if you'd like to support the Black Critic Guy just a smidge more, consider donating to my Patreon account. There's a link in the description. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Watt II, the gambler known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube!